Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bible Study with Tina. My name is Tina Palade, and today we're going to be studying the book of Genesis chapters 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. So we're going to be reading six chapters. Okay, we've read chapters 1 to 24 in the first four episodes. This is the fifth episode, and now we're reading chapters 25 to 30. And we've been talking about the story of Abraham, and that's what we're going to continue with. So let's begin. Abraham again took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Jokshan begat Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Asherim, Letushim, and Leumim. And the sons of Midian were Ephah, Hanok, Abida, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all he had to Isaac, but Abraham gave gifts to the sons of the concubines which Abraham had. And while he was still living, he sent them eastward away from Isaac his son to the country of the east. This is the sum of the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 175 years. So Abraham lived longer than his recent ancestors. Um, then verse 8, then Abraham breathed his last and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar, the Hittite, the field which Abraham purchased from the sons of Heth. There Abraham was buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt in Beer Laharoi. Now this is the genealogy of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's maidservant, bore to him. And these were the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names according to their generations. The first one of Ishmael, Nebajot, then Kedar, Abdil, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hada, Tema, Jetor, Naphish, and Kedema. These were the sons of Ishmael, and these were their names by their towns and their settlement, 12 princes according to their nations. These were the years of the life of Ishmael, 137, and he breathed his last and died and was gathered to his people. And they dwelt from Havilah as far as Shur, which is the east of Egypt, as you go toward Assyria. He died in the presence of all his brethren. This is the genealogy of Isaac, Abraham's son. Isaac begot Abraham begot Isaac. Isaac was 40 years when he took Rebekah as wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban the Syrian. Now Isaac pleaded with the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord granted his plea. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived, but the children struggled together within her, and she said, if all is well, why am I like this? So she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said to her, two nations are in your womb, two people shall be separated from your body, one people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. So when her days were fulfilled for her to give birth, indeed they were twins in her womb. The first came out red. It was like a hairy garment all over. So they called his name Esau. Afterward, his brother came out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel. So his name was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of field, but Jacob was a mild man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Now Jacob cooked a stew, and Esau came in from the field, and he was weary. And Esau said to Jacob, please feed me with the same breast stew. for I am weary. Therefore his name was called Edom. But Jacob said, sell me your birthright as of this day. And Esau said, look, I am about to die. So what is this birthright to me? Then Jacob said, swear to me as of this day. So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. And Jacob gave Esau bread and stew of lentils. Then he ate and drank, arose and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Esau did not value his birthright and he sold it for a plate of food. Plate of food. Yeah, it is well. So now that that brings us to the end of chapter 25. Now we go to 26, which is there was famine in the land. Besides, the first famine was in the days of Abraham, and Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines in Gerar. Then the Lord appeared to him and said, do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land of which I shall tell you. Dwell in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. For to you and your descendants I give all these lands, and I will perform the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. And I will make your descendants multiply as the stars of earth, of heaven. And I will give to your descendants all these lands, and in your seed all nations of the earth shall be blessed. Because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. So Isaac dwelt in Gerar, and the men of the place asked about his wife, and he said, she is my sister. For he was afraid to say she's my wife, because he thought, lest the men of the place kill me for Rebekah, because she is beautiful to behold. Now it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked through a window and saw, and there was Isaac, showing endearment to Rebekah his wife. And Abimelech said to Isaac and said, quite obviously she's your wife, so how could you say she's my sister? Isaac said to him, because I said, lest I die on our account. And Abimelech said, what is this you have done to us? One of the people might soon have lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us. So Abimelech charged all the people, saying, he who touches this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Then Isaac sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold. This is verse 12. 100-fold. And the Lord blessed him. The man began to prosper and continued prospering until he became very prosperous. For he had possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great number of servants. So the Philistines envied him. Now the Philistines had stopped all the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham his father, and they have filled them with earth. And Abimelech said to Isaac, go away from us, for you are much mightier than we. Then Isaac departed from there and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there. And Isaac dug again the wells of water which he had dug in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham. He called them by the names which his father had called them. Also Isaac's servant dug in the valley and found a well of running water there. But the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, the water is ours. So he called the name of the well Esek, because they quarreled there. Then they dug another well, and they quarreled over that one also. So he called the name Sitnah. And he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not quarrel over it. So he called the name Rehoboth, because he said, for now the Lord has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. Then he went off from there to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared to him in the same night and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you. I will bless you and multiply your descendants for my servant Abraham's sake. So he built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord. And he pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servant dug a well. Then Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzat, one of his friends, and Phicol, the commander of his army. And Isaac said to him, "Why have you come to me, since you hate me and have sent me away from you?" But they said, "We have certainly seen that the Lord is with you." So we said, "Let there now be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you will do us no harm, since we have not touched you, and since we have done nothing to you but good, and have sent you away in peace. You are now the blessed of the Lord." So he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. Then they arose early in the morning and swore an oath with one another. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. It came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and took him and told him about the well which they had dug, and said to him, "We have found water." So he called it Sheba. There the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. Therefore, the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. When Esau was 40 years old, he took as wives Judith the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basemath the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and they were grieved of mind to Isaac and Rebekah. King David had a mission to. That brings us to the end of chapter 26. Now we start 27, which says, "Now it came to pass, when Isaac was old, and his eyes were so dim that I could not see, that I called Esau his older son, and said to him, 'My son.' And he answered him, 'Here I am.' Then he said, 'Behold, now I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Therefore, please take your weapons and your weapons and your quiver and your bow, to go out to the field and hunt game for me. Make me savory food such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die.' Now Rebekah was listening when Isaac spoke to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt game and to bring it. So Rebekah spoke to Jacob her son, saying, 'Indeed, I heard your father speak to Esau, your brother, saying, Bring me game and make savory food for me, that I may eat it and bless you in the presence of the Lord before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to what I command you. Go now to the flock and bring me from there 2 choice kids of the goats, and I'll make savory food from them for your father, such as he loves. Then you shall take it to your father, that he may eat, and that he may bless you before his death.' And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, 'Look, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth-skinned man. Behold, perhaps my father will feel me, and I shall seem to be a deceiver to him, and I shall bring a curse upon myself and not a blessing.' But his mother said to him, 'Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go. Get them for me.' And he went and got them and brought them to his mother, and his mother made his savory food such as his father loved. Then Rebekah took the choice clothes of her elder son Esau, which were in her with her in the house, and put them on Jacob her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats on his hands, and on the smooth part of his neck. Then she gave the savory food and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. So he went to his father and said, 'My father.' And he said, 'Here I am. Who are you, my son?' Jacob said to his father, 'I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done just as you told me. Please arise, sit and eat of my game, that your soul may bless me.' But Isaac said to his son, 'How is it that you have found this so quickly, my son?' And he said, 'Because the Lord your God brought it to me.' Isaac said to Jacob, 'Please come near that I may feel you, my son, whether you are really my son Esau or not.' So Jacob went near to Isaac, his father, and he felt him and said, 'The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau.' And he did not recognize him, because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands, so he blessed him. Then he said, 'Are you really my son Esau?' He said, 'I am.' He said, 'Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's game, that my soul may bless you.' So he brought it near to him, and he ate, and brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, 'Come near, my son.' and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him. And he smelt the smell of his clothes and blessed him and said, Surely the smell of my son is like the smell of a field which the Lord has blessed. Therefore, may God give you of the dew of heaven, of the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be those who bless you. Now it happened as soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob had scarcely gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting, and also he also had made several food and brought it to his father, and said to his father, Let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that your soul may bless me. And his father Isaac said to him, Who are you? So he said, I am your son, your firstborn Esau. Then Isaac trembled exceedingly and said, Who? Where is the one who hunted game and brought it to me? I ate all of it and before you came, and I have blessed him. And indeed he shall be blessed. When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with an exceedingly great and bitter cry, and said to his father, Bless me also, O my father. But he said, Your brother came with deceit and has taken away your blessing. And Esau said, Is he not rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright. Now, look, he has taken away my blessings. And he said, Have you not reserved the blessing for me? Then Isaac answered and said to Esau, Indeed, I have made him your master, and all his brethren I have given him to him as servants. With grain and wine I have sustained him. What shall I do now for you, my son? And Esau said to his father, Have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Then Isaac his father answered and said to him, Behold, your dwelling shall be of the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. By your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother, and it shall come to pass, when you become restless, that you shall break his yoke from your neck. So Esau hated Jacob because of his blessing with which his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. And the words of Esau, her older son, were told to Rebekah. So she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, Surely your brother Esau comforts himself concerning you by intending to kill you. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice. Arise, flee to my brother Laban in Haran, until your brother's anger turns away from you and he forgets what you have done to him. Then I will send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereaved also of you both in one day? And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob takes a wife of the daughters of Heth, like those who are the daughters of the land, what good will my life be? So this brings us to the end of chapter 7, which was about Jacob stealing Esau's blessing. He stole his birthright, he also sold his blessing. And I tend to ponder, why would Rebecca love one son to the extent that I would prefer one son to gain blessing from the husband over the other? I do not know. But to me, I felt it was unfair to Esau. But then prophecy had already come as well at their birth that the younger shall be greater than the first. And I guess it played out eventually, even though it didn't seem like a fair situation to Esau. So let's start number 28, which says, Then Isaac called Jacob and blessed him, and charged him and said to him, You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Arise to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take yourself a wife from there, of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. So this means Jacob has been told to go and marry one of his cousins, one of his female cousins. It was a normal thing at that point in time. Even Abraham got married to his half sister. and Isaac got married to his niece. So it was a normal thing to marry within the family, but not immediate same mother, sister. It could be same father, but not same mother. So verse 3 says, May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, that you may be an assembly of people, that and give you the blessing of Abraham, to you and your descendants with you, that you may inherit the land in which you are a stranger, which God gave to Abraham. So Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Pandan Aram, to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Syrian. This means that Abraham was originally a Syrian, right? The brother of Rebekah to the mother of Jacob and Esau. Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padan Aram to take himself a wife from there. And that as he blessed him, he gave him a chance, saying, You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother and had gone to Padan Aram. Also, Esau saw that the daughters of Canaan did not displease his father Isaac. So Esau went to Ishmael and took Mahalat, the daughter of Ishmael. So Esau went to marry his cousin, the daughter of his uncle Ishmael, which is Abraham's son, the sister of Nebajoth, to be his wife in addition to the wives he had. So Jacob had not married at this time, but Esau already had two wives and he has taken his third wife. Whereas his father only had one wife, Rebekah. So verse 10. Now Jacob went out from Beersheba and went towards Haran. So he came to a certain place and stayed there all night, because the sun had set. And he took one of the stones of that place and put it at his head, and he lay down in that place to sleep. Then he dreamed, and behold, a ladder was set up on the earth, and its top reached to heaven. And there the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie I will give to you and descendants. Also, your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth. You shall spread abroad to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. And in you and in your seed all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go. I will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have spoken to you. Then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. And he was afraid and said, How awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. Then Jacob rose early in the morning and took the stone that he put at his head and set it up as a pillar and poured oil on top of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city had been Luz previously. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, If God will be with me and keep me in this way that I am going, and give me bread to eat and clothing to put on, so that I come back to my father's house in peace, then the Lord shall be my God, and this stone which I have set as a pillar shall be God's house. Of all that you give me, I will surely give a tenth to you. So this was a vow of Jacob, saying that he will surely give a tenth to the Lord of all that God has given him. So chapter 29 says, So Jacob went on his way and came to the land of the people of the east. And he looked and saw a well in the field, and behold, there were three flocks of sheep lying by it, but out of that well they watered the flocks. A large stone was on the well's mouth. Now all the flock would be gathered there, and they would roll the stone from the well's mouth and water the sheep, and put the stone back in its place on the well's mouth. And Jacob said to them, My brethren, where are you from? And they said, We are from Haran. Then he said to them, do you know Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, we know him. So he said to them, is he well? And they said, he is well. And look, his daughter Rachel is coming with the sheep. Then he said, look, it is still high day. It is not time for the cattle to be gathered together. Water the sheep and go and feed them. But they said, we cannot until the flocks are gathered together and they have rolled the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. Now, while he was still speaking to them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that it was his father's relative and that it was Rebekah's son. So she ran and told her father. Then it came to pass, when Laban heard the report about Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. So he told Laban all these things, and Laban said to him, surely you are my bone and my flesh. And he stayed with him for a month. Then Laban said to Jacob, because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what should your wage be? Now Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were delicate, but Rachel was beautiful of form and appearance. Now Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to you than I should give her to another man. Stay with me. So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and it seemed only a few days to him because of the love he had for her. And then Jacob said to Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go into her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. Now it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to Jacob, and he went in to her. And Laban gave his maid Silpah to his daughter Leah as maid. So it came to pass in the morning, and behold, it was Leah. He said to Laban, what is this you have done to me? Was it not for Rachel that I served you? Why then have you deceived me? Um, so this is actually the end of verse 25. Remember, in the past, Jacob deceived his brother, and now he ended up being deceived by his brother's by his mom's brother, which is his son. So sometimes I feel this passage shows that karma could happen to anyone. So if you have omitted the fact that Jacob had cheated someone in the past and now he's cheated, and this even took him 7 years and he still got cheated, then I will say that it could be karma. Or it's also part of God's plan for his life. So let's continue reading, then we'll find out why this happened. And Laban said, it must not be done so in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill our week, and we'll give you this one also for the service which you will serve. For the service which you will serve with me, still another 7 years. Now, Jacob originally planned to just serve for 7 years for a wife. Now he has to serve 14 years for the wife, which is another form of cheating. Laban could have just said, you know what, you've served 7 years, I gave you Leah, next week or next month or next year you can marry Rachel. However, Laban requested that I served him for another 7 years, which was cheating, before he could get the woman he really loved and wanted. So verse 31, when the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. So God also played favoritism here. He noticed that Jacob did not love Leah, so he opened the womb of Leah and closed the one of Rachel, who was loved. So one was receiving love but no child. The other one was not being loved but was getting pregnant. God has a way of doing his own thing, and who can question him? No one. So verse 32 of chapter 29 says, so Leah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Reuben. But she said, the Lord will surely look on my affliction. That means she was suffering in her marriage. Now, therefore, my husband will love me. She also was aware that her husband did not love her. Okay. So verse 33 says, then she conceived again and bore a son, and said, because the Lord has heard that I am unloved, he has therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. She conceived again and bore a son, and said, now this time my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne him three sons. Therefore his name was called Levi. Now imagine, she was hopeful, by every breath she was hopeful that the husband will eventually love her. Now she has given birth to three sons and was still hoping that the husband will still love her. Imagine having to endure a sexual relationship, marital relationship with someone that you know never loved you and is not even afraid to show it that he doesn't love you. I can't imagine how miserable Leah must have been in that marriage. Especially knowing that the person he loved is her younger sister. That could even lead to jealousy and envy and wrath. So verse 35 says, and she conceived again and bore a son, and said, now I will praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah. Then she stopped bearing. So I guess maybe the husband already started loving her by this time, so she didn't talk about the affliction or the fact that the husband doesn't love her. Now she's praising the Lord for a fourth son. And then she stopped bearing. So we don't know whether she entered menopause or she just had a hiatus in her fertility lifespan. This brings us to the end of chapter 29. Now we go to chapter 30, which is the last chapter for today. And it says, now when Rachel saw that she bore Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister. Envy had started, and said to Jacob, give me children or I die. And Jacob's anger was aroused against Rachel, and he said, am I in the place of God, who has withheld you from you the fruit of the womb? So she said, here is my maid servant Bilhah. Go into her, and she will bear a child on my knees, that I also may have children by her. Now you can see something else has come up. Rachel decided to give Jacob her maid servant to sleep with, so that she can bear children and she can claim ownership of the children, which is similar to what Sarah did when she gave Hagar to Abraham to bear children on her behalf. So I guess this may have been a common practice at that point in time or in that era. So verse 4, chapter 30, verse 4. Then she gave him Bilhah, a maid servant, as wife, and Jacob went into her, and Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. Then Rachel said, God has judged my case, and he has also heard my voice and given me a son. Therefore, I think, therefore she called his name Dan. So I think during this period, if your maid servant should bear a child on your behalf for your husband, the child automatically become yours as the woman of the house. So I guess that's where she could claim ownership of Dan, which is Bilhah, who is Bilhah's son. So verse 7, and Rachel's maid Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said, with great wrestling, I have wrestled with my sister. Imagine, they're actually fighting. With my sister, and indeed I have prevailed. So they called his name Naphtali. So verse 9, when Leah saw that she had stopped bearing, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her to Jacob as wife. And Leah's maid Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, a troop comes. So she called his name Gad, meaning Leah now has 5 sons. Rachel currently has 2. And Leah's male servant Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. And Leah said, I am happy, for the daughters will call me blessed. So she called him Asher, making 6 sons for Leah, 2 sons for Rachel. Verse 14. Now Reuben went in the days of the wheat harvest and found mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother Leah. And Rachel said to Leah, please give me some of your son's mandrakes. But she said to her, is it a small matter that you have taken my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrake also? And Rachel said, therefore he will lie with you tonight for your son's mandrake. Wow. So now, initially it was Jacob and Esau that used a plate of soup, a plate of food, to swap for birthright. Now, Rachel and Leah are swapping mandrakes for sex time with the husband. That is a night with the husband. So verse 16 says, and when Jacob came out of the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, you must come in to me, for I have surely hired you with my son's mandrake. And he laid with her that night. And God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son. Leah said, God has given me my wages because I have given my maid to my husband. So she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a sixth son. And Leah said, God has endowed me with a good endowment. Now my husband will dwell with me because I have borne him six sons. So she called his name Zebulun. Afterwards, she bore a daughter and called her name Dinah. So Leah has six sons and one daughter, making seven children. Zilpah has two children, and Rachel's maidservant has two children as well, making a total of 10 sons and one daughter. So right now, Dinah is the last one of the family, currently the last one of the family. Then God remembered Rachel, and God listened to her and opened her womb. And she conceived and bore a son. And God said, God has taken away my reproach. So she called his name Joseph and said, the Lord shall add to me another son. This means that it took a very long time, many years, if not decades, for Rachel to bear her first child. Because by now, Leah had already given birth to seven children. Even the two maids had already given birth to two children, two sons each. Okay? So now verse 25 says, and it came to pass, when Rachel had born Joseph, that Jacob said to Laban, send me away, that I may go to my own place and to my country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served you, and let me go. For you know my service which I have done for you. And Laban said, please stay, if I have found favor in your eyes, for I have learnt by experience that the Lord has blessed me for your sake. Then he said, name me your wages, and I will give it. So Jacob said to him, you know that I have served you, and how your livestock has been with me, for what you had before I came was little, and it has increased to a great amount. The Lord has blessed you since my coming, and now when shall I provide for my own son and family? So basically, this means that all this while that Jacob was giving birth to plenty children, he was living under Laban, and so he didn't even have the opportunity to live as an independent man, a man in charge of his household, because he was living with Laban, his uncle, the father of his wives. So yeah, I feel like it was right and it was proper for Jacob to request to leave and to go and set up his own family somewhere independent. So verse 31 says, so he said, what shall I give you? And Jacob said, you shall not give me anything. If you will do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep your flock. Let me pass through all your flock today, removing from there all the speckled and the spotted sheep, and all the brown ones amongst the lambs, and the spotted and speckled amongst the goats, and this shall be my wages. So my righteousness will answer for me in time to come, when the subject of my wages come before you. Everyone that is not speckled and spotted amongst the goat and brown amongst the lamb will be considered stolen if it is with me. And Laban said, oh, that it were according to your word. So he removed that day the male goats that were speckled and spotted, all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, every one that had some white in it, and all the brown ones amongst the lamb, and gave them into the hand of his sons. And he put 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob. And Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. This means Jacob was still a shepherd keeping Laban's flock while also working towards his exit wages, which were the spotted and the speckled lambs and goats, and also the brown lambs. So now Jacob took for himself rod of green poplar and of the almond and chestnut trees, peeled white stripes in them, and exposed the white which was in the rods. And the rod which he had peeled is set before the flocks in the gutter, and in the watering trough where the flocks came to drink. so that they should conceive when they came to drink. So the flocks conceived before the rods, and the flocks brought forth streaked, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks face towards the street, and all the brown of flock of Laban. And he put his own flock by themselves and did not put them with Laban's flock. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock conceived, that Jacob placed the rod before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. And when the flocks were feeble, he did not put them in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. Thus the man became exceedingly prosperous and had large flocks, female and male servants, and camels and donkeys. So while still being with Laban, Jacob still prospered, and God gave him wisdom on how to ensure that he gets the best of the wages that God could offer him. This is a wonderful story. From betrayal to confusion to running away to fleeing and then to excelling and prospering under paid job. This brings us to the end of the study today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you love listening to the word of God, and I hope you learned something today. Please remember to subscribe to this channel. Stay tuned because we're going to be reading Genesis chapter 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36 tomorrow. We will start at 3:30 West African time, which is 2:30 UK time right now. And if you have anything to share regarding what we've read today, please share below. Do not forget to comment and share with your loved one. And remember to subscribe. Subscribe. Do not forget it. I wish you the best, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.